The top line: the U.S. will impose new economic sanctions on 24 Russian individuals and entities for cyberattacks in the U.S. and meddling in the 2016 election, senior national security officials said Thursday. The Treasury Department will target 5 entities and 19 individuals from Russia for actions ranging from the destabilizing efforts in the 2016 presidential election to the NotPetya malware attack, the costliest and most disruptive in history. Treasury says it will freeze the assets and prohibit Americans from doing business with the accused Russians. Some of those entities and individuals, including the Internet Research Agency, which allegedly used fake social media accounts to sow division in the U.S., have already been indicted by Special Counsel Robert Mueller. Robert Swan Mueller says U.S. should applaud choice of Mueller to lead Russia probe more. The new sanctions also target 2 Russian military intelligence firms and a half-dozen people associated with them. Read the rest from The Hill's Jonathan Easley. The sanctions come the same day that U.S. European Command Head Gen. Curtis Scaparrotti said that the military believes that it's highly likely that Russia was involved in an alleged chemical attack targeting an ex-Russian spy in the United Kingdom. Read the rest of his comments here. President Trump. Donald John Trump accuser says Trump should be afraid of the truth. Woman behind pro-Trump Facebook page denies being influenced by Russians. Shulkin says he has White House approval to root out subversion at VA. Moore also said on Thursday that it certainly looks as if Moscow is behind the poisoning of the ex-Russian spy and his daughter. More on Trump's response here. GOP sends Ben Sasse. Benjamin Ben Eric Sasse, 14 GOP senators who voted against Trump's immigration framework. GOP senator on indictments. Mueller just put Moscow on notice. Prison sentencing bill advances over Sessions' objections. Moore, Neb, and John McCain. John Sidney McCain. Lawmakers worry about rise of fake video technology. Democrats put Dreamers and their party in danger by playing hardball. Trump set a good defense budget, but here is how to make it better. More Marines are calling for the United States to lead a coordinated NATO response to the alleged poisoning. Read about that here. Senate Minority Leader Charles Schumer. Chuck Ellis Schumer. Democrats now attack internet rules they once embraced. Schumer, Trump budget would cripple gun background checks. Schumer, Senate Republican silence deafening on guns. Russia. More DNY. Meanwhile, ask Trump when he would get smart on Moscow. That story from The Hill's Jordan Carney is here. Key Republicans back VA chief. Key Republicans are sticking by Veterans Affairs Secretary David Shulkin. Jonathan Shulkin says he has White House approval to root out subversion at VA overnight. Energy. Dems ask Pruitt to justify first-class travel. Obama EPA chief says reg rollback won't stand. Ex-advisor expects Trump to eventually rejoin Paris Accord. Overnight defense. First Gitmo transfer under Trump could happen soon. White House says Trump has confidence in VA chief. Russia concedes. Dozens of civilians injured in Syria clash. More as of his firing swirl. The Republican chairman of the House and Senate Veterans Affairs Committees have offered their support to Shulkin in recent days, as has the chairman of the House Appropriations Committee's Veterans Subpanel. Still, at least 2 rank-and-file Republicans have called for Shulkin's removal, and a Republican senator who accused Shulkin of double talk even before he was engulfed in controversy has offered neither support nor condemnation. President Trump, meanwhile, said Thursday reports of an imminent shakeup in his administration are false, though he added cryptically, "There will always be change." It was a very false story, Trump said in the Oval Office. A very exaggerated and false story. But there will always be change, and I think you want to see change, and I want to also see different ideas. The Hill's Rebecca Keel has more here. And Shulkin said that he thinks his department is getting back on track after recent distraction. "I've publicly acknowledged that the distraction that has happened that you've talked about is something that I deeply regret," Shulkin told the House Appropriations Subcommittee. "I've come here for one reason, and that's to improve the lives of veterans, and that's what I'm focused solely on doing." Read that story here. Top Admiral cautions against being overly optimistic about Trump-Kim summit. The top admiral overseeing the U.S. military in the Asia-Pacific region warned Thursday not to be overly optimistic about the outcome of President Trump's meeting with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. "As we go into this, I think we can't be overly optimistic on outcomes," ADM. Harry Harris, commander of U.S. Pacific Command, told the Senate Armed Services Committee. "We'll just have to see where it goes, if and when we have the summit." Last week, a South Korean official announced from outside the White House that Trump accepted Kim's offer to meet face-to-face. If Trump follows through with the summit, it would be the first time a sitting U.S. president has ever met with a North Korean leader. In Thursday's hearing, Harris underscored the unprecedented nature of the situation. Asked by Armed Services Ranking Member Senator Jack Reed, Jack Raymond Redby chief, Trump hasn't specifically directed me to stop Russian meddling in midterms live coverage. FBI director testifies to Senate Intelligence Committee. Senate Dems demand answers on cost of Trump's military parade proposal. More DRI about the likelihood of an agreement on North Korea's nuclear program after one or two meetings, Harris said. I don't know. Read the rest here. Trump gives jolt to push for military space force. President Trump is giving a boost to the idea of creating a new military force focused on battles in space. Trump surprised military leaders on Tuesday by announcing the possibility of a space force, suggesting he's interested in putting some political capital behind the idea. You know, I was saying it the other day, because we're doing a tremendous amount of work in space. I said, maybe we need a new force. We'll call it the Space Force, and I was not really serious. And then I said, what a great idea, maybe we'll have to do that. That could happen, he said during a speech to military personnel in San Diego. Supporters of a dedicated military space arm are worried that the United States is lagging behind Russia and China, who have already made moves to spin off their space operations into separate military branches and are developing electronic warfare and anti-satellite weapons. Lawmakers who like the idea say hearing the president tout the proposal was a shot in the arm. Read more on that here. Pentagon discloses new firefight in Niger, U.S. Troops engaged in an undisclosed firefight with Islamic State militants in Niger 2 months after American troops were killed in the African nation, the U.S. military acknowledged on Wednesday. Pentagon spokeswoman Cheryl Klinkle said in a statement to CNN that during a mission in the Lake Chad Basin region the morning of Dec. 6, a combined force of Nigerian and U.S. military members came under fire from a formation of violent extremists. A firefight reportedly ensued, leaving 11 militants dead, according to CNN. The firefight was first reported by the New York Times. According to the Times, no American or Nigerian forces were harmed in the battle. A spokeswoman for U.S. Africa Command did not explain in a statement to the Times why the December firefight was not disclosed at the time. Read the rest here. On tap for tomorrow, Lieutenant Gen. Charles Hooper, director of the Defense Security Cooperation Agency, will speak on strengthening alliances and partnerships through defense cooperation at 10 a.m. Friday at the Center for Strategic and International Studies in Washington. http://bit.ly/2if8koza Defense Information Systems Agency Director Vice ADM Nancy Norton will speak at AFCEA's Women in DoD luncheon at 11:15 a.m. at the Army-Navy Country Club in Arlington, Virginia. Sen. Ben Sasse, RNEB, will speak at the Heritage Foundation on the national security implications of withdrawing from NAFTA at 1:30 p.m. in Washington. In case you missed it, The Hill, Pentagon stops short of blaming funding, training issues for deadly jet crash. The Hill, Mattis warned Senate against ending support for war in Yemen. Report. The Hill, ex-military leaders urged Trump not to scrap NAFTA, citing security concerns. The Hill, CIA torture could stymie nominee. The Hill, no Iranian provocations engulf in months. Central Command. The Hill, Defense Department staffers spent nearly $140,000 at Trump properties. Report. The Hill, opinion, let us remember to protect our wartime allies and trusted Iraqi friends. The Hill, opinion, states abrupt switch needed to put U.S. policy on track. Defense News, Fortress Sweden, inside the plan to mobilize Swedish society against Russia. AFP, Russia, complicit in Assad atrocities. Pentagon. Please send tips and comments to Rebecca Keel, rkeel@thehill.com, and Ellen Mitchell, emitchell@thehill.com. Follow us on Twitter, @TheHill, @Rebecca H_K, @Ellen Mitchell 23.